That story again. Yeah, it was fun to watch people's reaction because back in 1984 when we started Venture, we had gone through an extensive process that started in 1982, and we really got going in 1984. Which you think about George Orwell in 1984, that's a pretty dramatic year. And if you read that classic book, you can see that people were thinking when it was written that things are going to be very different in 1984. Fortunately, a lot of the really nasty stuff that was predicted in the book 1984 never happened. But there we were, standing up in front of large crowds of people drawn from all over Chattanooga, and we would ask them to focus their minds on the future. And in order to help them do that, we would give them what we called the challenge question. And the challenge question went something like this. It's now 1984. The year 2000 is 16 years away. You looked around and people's eyes would look a little bit startled when you'd say the year 2000 is 16 years away. Now, 15 years on the other side of year 2000, it doesn't sound all that dramatic, but these were people, including myself, who had grown up thinking that the year 2000 was so far out in the future that it would never happen. So, and I got to do this night after night. The year 2000 is 16 years away. Then if you think about what happens in 16 years, well, a generation grows up. And we would say the graduating class of the year 2000, the high school graduating class is already here. And they would look startled and hold your hand down about your knees and say they're toddlers. They're running around their knees right now. And if we want this community to be the kind of community that we want this new generation to inherit, we have to start now. And then we would present them with the challenge question. We'd say, okay, think about the year 2000. What will it be like? And we had broken the future down into people issues, place issues, work issues, play issues, and government. People, places, work, play, and government. We said that so many times it just rolled off our tongue. But we would focus on a particular night on one part of that. And we would say, okay, we're going to talk tonight about people issues. What sorts of change, socioeconomic change, social changes, changes in education, whatever we're going to, and we tried not to lead them too much by giving them too much detail. We'd say, what are we going to do to make this the kind of community that has a high quality of life that we're willing to turn over to these young people who will be graduating in the year 2000. We do the same thing for place issues. You know, we talk about the way our communities are structured today, where our neighborhoods are, the condition of those neighborhoods, the condition of the roads, the sidewalks, and so forth, and what do we want them to look like in the year 2000. Same sort of thing for um, all of the other parts of a community that go together. And then government was kind of different because we would talk about, you know, how do we want to govern ourselves in the future? And interestingly, the discussion about government led to a change in the form of government that Chattanooga had had for many, many years. We had the old commission form of government where commissioners were elected at large. Consequently, we had only elected one black person to the city commission in 78 years, and that was Johnny Franklin, and he was still there. And we said, you know, do we want the kind of government that we have representing us today to be the kind of government representing us in the year 2000? That led to a change to the mayor-council form of government, and I got to be the last elected commissioner of public works under the old system and the first chairman of the new council under the new system, and then ultimately got to serve as mayor. So, but in the changing structure of things, we now have had a lot of minority population. We'd never had a woman serving in city government up until that time. And so we now have a much more diverse population governing the city, and we now have, as a result of people thinking through the future in 1984 and saying that things like building an aquarium or developing the riverfront was not a preposterous idea. It was really one that if we wanted a quality of life that was conducive to a good way to live in the future for those children that were growing up, we had to start in 1984 to have it ready by the year 2000. And we did. We got there.